Yes, you're watching the South Australian Sports Show. Time to turn our attention to the Bay, Sheffield. Bob, of course, you are a athletics tragic. So
I love it. Yeah, I do.
Have you ever missed a Bay, Sheffield, in the last 20 years?
Well, I hadn't actually missed one. It was last year, unfortunately, because I went into state. But I tell you what, there's not too many I have missed, boys, over the last 2 decades, and there's not too many that haven't been executed perfectly. It's a great event.
Oh, it's a phenomenal carnival. It's we were just talking about before. It's the uniqueness of the venue.
Yeah.
For one thing, it's a free event. We get across the 2 days 30,000 people that come down to see it. So it's just that festive sort of atmosphere.
We're just talking off air. Can we, just for the viewers, the history of Collie Reserve, it was actually created and dug into for the Bay Chefs?
Yeah. So originally it was all that's through there is sandhills, or it was sandhills, and it was flat. And 1966 is when it was carved out. So for a couple of years, the Bay was run at Wigley Reserve, just around the corner. And that amphitheatre type feel is deliberately for the Bay.
I love the uniqueness of that venue, and all the things you've mentioned. The crowd is right there, the auditorium type feel. As a spectator, you're right on it, and as a competitor, I'd imagine you feel all of that competing.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I was lucky enough to run there quite often. I ran there probably about 14 years in a row, and it's the atmosphere, the noise, people get behind it. They're down the bay having a good time, summer.
Sure.
Nothing really beats it.
14 years competing. Is there one year that stood out any more than?
Well, for me it does. In 2006 I made the final. I was lucky enough to make the final, finished third overall. And yeah, just, you got thousands of people sitting on the hill. It all goes quiet just before the race, just after the national anthem's been sung. And obviously the adrenaline's pumping, you're all ready to go, and then, as I said, complete quiet, gun goes bang, and you just go as fast as you can.
Is that an eerie moment, when it goes quiet, because there's been so much noise, and then all of a sudden it's just nothing?
It is, yeah. It's hard to explain, but you said eerie.
Yeah.
You're just sort of there, and there's people everywhere, and you can't hear a thing. It's.
I think the great thing about the event is not only that it's an institution for South Australia, but it's respected around the country, and I reckon that's always the sign of an event that stands the test of time. And this one, are we celebrating 150?
130 years this year.
130, yeah.
We are the only event in Australia that didn't stop for the wars. So
really?
Stall, Maryborough, everybody else stopped for the wars. We didn't.
Why not? Why didn't we stop for the wars?
Well, it's too important to stop for the wars. It's not quite life and death. It's a bit more important than that.
That's it. Yeah, wow. Is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been true. And over the years, it's managed to attract some big names as well, which is fantastic.
Oh yeah, I mean, we regularly get Olympians coming to contest, like Joshua Ross, Australia's fastest man.
Yeah.
For many years, he won the Bay in 2012 off scratch, so the first person ever to do that.
Yeah.
But yeah, we'll have Olympians this year as well. But that's they get to compete against people like me.
Yeah.
Well, not so much me anymore. But that's the beauty of the sport.
Who was it? I'm going to put you on the spot here because we should have planned this, and I hate doing this, but now I need to know as well. The young Tasmanian teenager that was
Jack
here
Hale.
I'm glad you knew, but a couple of years ago, where's he at? Because he was going to be the next big thing, and he was quite unique in his stature to be so quick, but he managed to rumble with the best.
Look, he's seriously quick, but he's still very, very young.
Yeah.
I'll let Leon talk to you more about that. But you find a spot for him in the pecking order, and it's at age 17 as he was when he came.
Yeah.
He can come again in this year or 5 years' time, and there'll still be a spot for him to chase or to be chased.
Yeah.
Now, when you come in to compete, are you aware of all the athletes that you're running against, or is there every now and then there's one you go, don't really know about this guy?
Well, you definitely do get that. Not so much this era with the internet and times. I mean, you pretty well know everything about most people, but yeah, there are definitely some that come over. We compete most weeks, so the Bay Chefs are our flagship event, but we've got races leading all the way up every weekend. So we know most of the South Australian athletes, the ones we don't know about, Western Australia, New South Wales, the Victorians that come over. You try and sort of do your research, but as an athlete, you basically just what time you have to run, and you try and run.
Can you get a feel for the guy running either side of you of where they are in the race? I mean, let's talk about Usain Bolt just for a moment, because most people can relate.
I've never run against Usain Bolt.
Yeah, no, but you see him get into the 100 metres race, and everyone else is getting down, getting set in their block, and he's waving to the fans and he's smiling. I know if I'm in the block next to him going, is this guy serious? Is he what chance have I got? He doesn't even get in the block. Can you see the side of you where the guys are more nervous or whether they're calm?
Yeah, I think you can, and there's been examples of athletes doing funny things purely just they probably know they're not quite going to win, but if they can get an edge by putting someone off and doing a noise or a funny jump or something like that, It was a classic one at stall. I think one guy started, just started chatting to everyone, and he wasn't expected to win the race, and they just saying weird stuff to him, and they basically got the win. They just they were probably thinking about something else.
27th, 28th, of course, of the Bay Chef. Last year was your biggest. 904 nominations you said came in. Is there a chance that it may have to go over more than 2 days for South Australia?
There is. We're sort of at bursting point now. I mean, both days are really long carnivals. So the day 2, in particular, starts at 10 a.m, finishes at 7 p.m, and there's a race every 4 minutes.
Yeah.
So that's just absolutely chock-a-block, and that's a lot that we ask of our officials to do that. And so the logical progression of it is to extend out to 3 days. We're probably looking at that for next year, I think.
I think the competitors would be happy with that. You get a feel when you talk to them that we might have to, and they go, that would suit us.
Oh, absolutely. And it'll impact a little bit in that the Bay Sheffield, the distinction between the Bay and Stall, one of the main distinctions, our race is on the one day. So you've got to run your heat, your semi-final and the final on the one day. And that takes a strong, fit runner to do that. Stall, you run your heat on Saturday, Sunday's off, and then you got Monday, semi-final and final. There's a different dynamic to that. So if we wound up going to 3 days, we'd probably put the main race to day 3 and possibly have heats leading in on the previous days as well.
You mentioned the amount of events every 4 minutes. I didn't know that, but the team behind what is the Bay Chef is enormous. And I should point out Terry McAuliffe's job year in, year out. He's just sensational for him to do what he does. He's quite incredible.
And we're biased, obviously, but I think he's the best race caller in the world.
Yeah, he's very good. Yeah, excellent.
Yep. Yeah, Bruce might just get him.
No, I don't know. You know what? I love what Terry does down there.
Well, Bruce is our patron.
Yep.
And he doesn't miss a bay. He loves it. He won't mind saying this, but I prefer Terry. I think he's just very
fantastic.
Bruce probably prefers Terry. But I mean, he's a mad runner himself, Bruce. So that's
he's had that background, and really beautiful story. His father worked with a man called Riley Wing, who won the Bay Sheffield in 1947. And for the 60th anniversary, Bruce flew Riley down from Darwin. And so we took him out, we introduced him to the finalists, and it was just this really, really special moment.
Yeah, fantastic.
And Riley was this Chinese-Australian with an amazing history. And just to see him and see the wheels turning in his head and all the memories, and to get from him what he remembers of 60, or now nearly 70 years ago when he won it, it's awesome listening to those old boys.
All right, December 27th, 28th, Bay Sheffield. You need to get down there. 130 years of tradition. Might be the last time it's over 2 days too, so you can say you're a part of history. Thanks for coming in, Brendan. Leon, we need to get to a break. Stay with us.